In Yakyakistan, employees fire you. In Yakyakistan, snow board you. In
Private?
Come on, Sarge, just one more.
Fine, but don't call me Sarge.
In Yakyakistan, horse ride you. My Little Pony, Not Asking for Trouble, starts with Pinkie being summoned to the land of ice and bad grammar for Yaktoberfest or something. But a freak avalanche and a very stubborn prince put a serious damper on Pinkie's goodwill mission to the north. This episode is definitely solid, but not quite brilliant. Let's start with the episode's greatest strength. Its comedy. First off, it stars the princess of sugar-fueled hyper-randomness, and that makes for a lot of comic energy right off the bat. But she's also got some serious backup. Prince Rutherford is absolutely hilarious, and he and Pinkie have great chemistry. The comic MVP, however, is Gummy. In most episodes, he's a throwaway gag, but here, he's a silent but always laugh-inducing powerhouse. Finally, Rainbow Dash is quite humorous, and it helps that she and Pinkie are one of the show's best comic pairs. Moving on, I love the new location. We barely got a glimpse of Yakyakistan in the past, so it's cool to see a whole story set there. We also get some nifty visuals, like the giant yak statues.
They certainly do project authority, but they're so third world.
There's also a very different musical flavor to the setting. Finally, we get some tidbits about yak culture, like the time the yaks defeated evil and saved the world.
I wouldn't trust that 2-bit yak oil salesman, Private.
Good point, but it's nice to know that there are at least stories of world imperilment outside of ponydom. One of the weaknesses of the episode is its odd pacing. The story is about 85% build-up and establishing the problem, and the problem behind the problem.
Yes, poor leadership indeed.
Once Twilight and the gang show up, the avalanche is montaged out of existence. The other big problem is the yaks. Yaks lack agency. Yaks just passive participants in Yak's own story. Yaks deserve...
Private, quit your yakking.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Sarge. That gets addictive.
No problem. And if you call me Sarge again, you're cleaning the latrine with your toothbrush.
Like I said, the yaks are the ones with fur in the game here. I get this story is about knowing when to ask for help, but I would have preferred seeing the yaks take a more active role. Now, as you would guess from the strange pacing, the ending is excessively convenient and kind of lame. 'Cause in Yakyakistan, it's way easier to beg forgiveness than to ask permission. Finally, I'd like to compliment the episode on how it handles this clash of cultures. Most of the time, stories like this either involve a backward traditional society being shaken up by a free-thinking outsider, or an arrogant jerk being put in his place by a culture superior to his own. But here, Pinkie is polite and respectful, and the yaks are open and welcoming. Finally, the conclusion doesn't end up violating yak tradition, which is probably the one thing they got right. Okay, now it's time to break down the good and the bad in My Little Pony, Not Asking for Trouble. On the good side, the episode is very funny. It has a cool setting, even before the place gets covered in snow, and I like how respectful all the characters are to one another. On the downside, the story's conclusion feels rushed, and the yaks feel like bystanders to events that affect them personally. So, I give My Little Pony, Not Asking for Trouble, a 3.5 out of 5. Now, if you're interested in more reviews of anime, movies, TV shows, comic books, or video games, check out my channel on YouTube at StupidPrivate913, or find my Facebook and Deviantart pages for video updates and more. Thank you for watching.
Hey kids, today's show is brought to you by the letter 4 and the number potato! I'm a stupid private.